Greetings again, Youngstown. This is your superintendent, Jeremy Batchelor, and we're back with another episode of the Belly Left Leadership Podcast. Remember, the Belly Left Leadership mantra is derived from a simple football play, but it is more than football. It is about life. It's about leadership. It's about having a executed plan that we prepare for, that everybody knows their position, everybody knows their job, and everybody executes that at a high level so that we can continue to do what we need to do and we keep running it until they stop it. So on today's episode, I have someone here that is definitely someone that has been a friend to the district, is actually a part of the district in a unique role, but it is something that is a powerful opportunity for the Scholars of Youngstown. And it's been a powerful opportunity for the Scholars of Youngstown since 1988. And quite honestly, too many people still don't really know the power of it and the availability of the Ohio State University Young Scholars Program. So I have Mrs. Tiffany Payiavlas, who is with the Ohio State Young Scholars Program, but she is also a Youngstown City School District alum. So welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we're going to start off. Tell us a little bit about your path from Wilson High School graduate to now working for the Ohio State University.
Yes. So thank you again for having me. I definitely am a proud Woodrow Wilson High School graduate, always representing the Youngstown City Schools wherever I go.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily think that I was going to be college bound.
Okay.
I didn't think of myself as a college student. It was just by chance. I saw my best friend during lunch, and she says, "Hey, did you get the invitation to go to the library?" I'm like, "No, I didn't get an invitation. Where are you guys going? What are you doing?" "Oh, we're going to apply to YSU."
Okay.
So I pretty much crashed that invite.
Yeah.
And her, myself, and along with a couple of other friends of mine, we applied to YSU. So I think that is, first point that I want to make is so important.
Mhm.
Who's your circle?
I was just getting ready to say.
Who are you surrounding yourself
If you didn't go there, I was going to go there.
Absolutely.
So.
And, side note too, 25, 26 years later, that's still my best friend.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
We went to Youngstown State University together, and I really flourished there.
Okay.
Again, not considering myself to be college bound, when I attended YSU, I felt so privileged.
Okay.
I felt proud, especially as the first person in my family to go to college.
Okay.
I felt that there was a sense of responsibility there. And so really, I hit the ground running. I was very involved in student life, student activities.
Okay.
I joined a sorority that we were focused on.
What sorority is that?
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which
Deltas.
focused on sisterhood, scholarship, service. And really, that was my beginning. That was my foundation.
Okay.
I also co-founded a student organization for Latino students. And really, I was just so involved on campus and giving back. And so I really would say that was just the foundation of my leadership journey, was just that feeling of accomplishment.
Okay.
That feeling that, being able to put myself in a position, not only for my future, but for my family as well. So my little sister could see me as someone that went on to college, and she could follow suit, which she did. So from there, I had a role at Leadership Mahoning Valley.
Okay.
You know something about
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I started as an intern, and then there was a vacancy open for the youth leadership Mahoning Valley.
Okay.
As a director of that program. So that program focused on high school sophomores.
Okay.
Which I didn't see myself ever working with high school students, by the way. But I started there, and that's still to this day an amazing program. And from there, I went into financial aid.
Okay.
So really working with adult students, specifically working with veterans, disabled veterans, working with families or with students that might have suffered a bankruptcy, helping to get that resolved, and really helping students avoid default.
Okay.
And my passion was really working with students, not to max out their student loans, and really to educate families about, when we fill out the free application for federal student aid, knowing the ins and outs of that, but really just being careful and only taking out what you need. So
Right.
when I was coaching a student against maxing out their student loans, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's not live off of your student loan money. Let's look for a job. So I was helping them navigate how, I think it was called the How Means Jobs website.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's where I saw the position for the Ohio State University.
Okay. So you were helping others, and then it ended up there.
And I'm like, this sounds too good to be true. What is this? And then, here I am. This is November 1st will be my 14th year. 14
years. All right. So tell us, the Young Scholars, as we mentioned, has been in the district, as a district partner for 35 years.
Yes.
Who's this program geared to, and what makes it unique?
So this program is geared toward academically talented, first-generation students with a high financial need, specifically for the 9 largest urban public school districts in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
So, which Youngstown happens to be one of those.
Absolutely.
And applications are open to students January 1st of every year.
Okay.
And in Youngstown specifically, that would be for East Middle, Cheney Middle, and Rain Early College Middle School.
Our 3 middle schools, our 2 traditional middle schools, and our early college middle school. Okay.
So what makes us unique is that we are a direct pipeline. We are a direct pipeline into the Ohio State University. So another thing that makes us unique is that we are a scholarship program, that if students can maintain an unweighted 3.3 GPA, I coach them, that's part of my role, into just following a college prep curriculum, educating students on what does that mean, why is that important.
Right.
There is a scholarship attached to the program, which is tuition, fees, room and board for 8 semesters or 4 years. And I really think that's what makes us very unique in the area. I'm not aware of another program that's a direct pipeline.
No. So talk to me. I mean, think about that. How much does it cost to go to Ohio State now for the year? If you live on campus, full room and board, take out the books and all that, but room and board tuition, what is that?
I want to say this year is about $31,000.
So times 4, that's $100. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to get an education, which you mentioned earlier about investing in yourself and enhancing your education, and also not even just changing your own life, but changing your generations. And so, it's a unique opportunity. And I really wanted Tiffany on here because I'll be honest, until I came to the district 7 years ago, I had heard of Young Scholars, but I really didn't know what it was about, didn't really know. And for me, it's kind of disheartening because, quite honestly, it's been around since I was a freshman in high school.
Right. And
I'm sure my parents probably would have loved for me to be in that instead of some other avenues that we chose. We were able to be halfway successful and get some things done, but this is an opportunity for young people, especially if they take academics seriously and they're really focused. This is an opportunity that our kids should take advantage of, and people have to know about. But I also know that Miss Tiffany don't play. No, I also know that. I also know that you stay on them, and there's a lot of things you guys do during the year. Talk a little bit about that.
So some of the things that we do throughout the year. This program, I have to say, and I tell everyone when I go into school buildings, when I'm out in the community, when I'm talking to parents, when I'm talking to students alike, the first thing that I say is just what a blessing, what an opportunity this is.
Absolutely.
So we are also unique in that we start in 9th grade. So 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th, we are talking about why should you go to college? The college admission process, the college application process,
right.
The whole learning how to go process, talking about different careers, majors, and just like the world of opportunity that will be there for you, especially because we are eliminating the burden, the financial burden.
Absolutely.
That fear that a lot of families have, like, hey, I don't know how we're going to pay for this.
Right.
Well, now that that's removed, the world is yours.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to do? what is it something that you aspire to?
Right.
And let's talk about those things. Let's talk about what hopes and dreams that you have, not only for yourself, but for your family. Because again, this is a game changer in the form of it breaks generational curses. It breaks generational chains.
Right.
Okay, so this is something that is not only beneficial for the student, but for the family as well.
So one thing I forgot to kind of ask you to just make sure the community understands what is the definition of first generation.
So I'll say what Ohio State uses as a definition of a first generation student. So this would be a student that they will be the first in their family to go to college. And when we talk about to go to college and graduate, so when we say family, we are talking about the mother and father, biological mother and father does not have a bachelor's degree.
Gotcha.
So they can have an associate degree.
Right.
But we're talking about the mother and father does not have a bachelor's degree.
So just for my edification as well, and just for the community. So say grandma went to college, but mom and dad did not finish and not have a bachelor. Would that still be considered first generation?
By Ohio State standard, that would still be okay. Because we're looking at the immediate household.
The immediate household. Got it. Okay. All right. Just good information for folks to have. All right.
And thank you for asking.
Absolutely. So, and I know you talk about a lot of things you're working on with your folks, but this podcast is about leadership per se. But for me, leadership is everything we do, and everybody is a leader in their own way. And in order for an organization, in a community, in our case, to really grow, we all have to embrace that leadership. And so, what ways do you encourage scholars to be leaders within their daily lives?
It sounds very cliche, but I tell students to be their authentic self.
Love it.
And to show up not only for themselves, but for their family, for their community.
Okay.
And something that, since I started this role back in 2010, I always talk to students about, you're not only representing yourself when you become a young scholar, you are representing your school. Who's in your school? Your principal, your teachers, you're representing your family. Right. You're representing your city. You're representing Youngstown, right? You're not just representing the Ohio State University and the program. And you're representing me too. So that representation matters, and letting students know that they belong. So just a real quick story that I think is really important to share that kind of goes with my leadership philosophy with that. Shortly after my undergrad, so I was just very fresh out of college. And again, that feeling and that sense of pride, and that I was accomplished. I made it. I'm the first, right? I was invited to a local, I guess it was a mixer.
Okay.
And it was with university officials, with business leaders. It was with community leaders. And I felt so privileged and so proud to be there.
Okay.
So I took care of my appearance.
Okay.
And not in a vanity way, but wanting to belong and wanting to have that sense of belonging. So made sure my hair was done nice, very minimal makeup, little stud earrings, no bracelets, a suit that I couldn't afford, a very sharp business suit. It was gorgeous. And I went there and I felt well prepared. I looked around. I'm like, okay, I did this right. I look like everybody else here.
Right.
Even though I was the only Latina in the room, one of the few people of color.
Right.
So this woman walks up to me. She was a university professor. And I was really happy to meet her because I knew of her. And she's, we exchanged pleasantries. And then she starts grilling me. So, where are you from? What high school did you go to? What high school did your parents go to? What do you do? And me being naive and I was young, I was very, very proud again, just happy to tell her. And I looked at her and I could just tell I didn't give her what the right answers were in her eyes, right?
Yeah.
And she was done with me. She dismissed me. And she looked me in my face and she says, "Oh, based upon my answers, you must be the first person in your family to go to college and graduate. Your parents must be very proud of you. And she walks off.
Wow.
And when I tell you, that made me feel like she slapped my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I felt rage.
Mm-hmm.
I felt horrified.
Right.
And I felt crushed. I felt grief. And relating that back to that question about how I want my students to lead is how I coach students and how I hope that they never get to experience that feeling that that woman made me feel.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, let's expound on that. You're obviously minorities that are in leadership positions, have gone to college, and those types of things. And then sometimes when we're in a room, um, it may seem that we can't be our authentic selves, and whatever that is, and that doesn't mean there's a certain way that an African American male has to act or a Latino woman has to act. But we're proud South Sider of Youngstown, as I am. But we've been able to experience some things in our lives, but we've never forget where we come from. All right, I need everybody to understand that. But at the same time, we're about growth and development, and so how do we teach our kids to be able to deal with those types of things? Because reality is that even these now it still exists.
Right.
So how do we teach our kids to deal with that? Still be authentic in who we are, but understand that some people just don't get it.
Right.
But then help us rise to where we want them to rise to. I mean, what advice do you give them?
My advice really is to speak to your lived experiences.
Okay.
And I think sometimes in leadership, we tend to get caught up in prestige, in title,
Mm-hmm.
in accomplishments.
Right.
As a leader, when do we have the opportunity to talk about mistakes?
Huh.
And that's where I come in.
Yeah.
And I definitely am very authentic in the way that I run this program in Youngstown. When I talk to students about mistakes that I have made, like I always didn't do the right thing. I was a student. I didn't know any better. I did, take out a lot of student loans. I had no one to show me or to tell me otherwise.
Okay.
Right. So making sure that letting students see who you are as a person and not the title. I talk to students, I take off the administrator hat. I take off the Ohio State, hat. And this is who I am. And these are the challenges that I've had. But look at me now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is why I want to definitely, I love talking to you. Even we've had many conversations off camera, just in passing, in meetings. And I love talking to you because, I think we come from somewhat of the same cloth. Take care of business, handle business, and be serious about what we want to do on behalf of young people. But at the same time, you got to understand that we haven't always been who we are. We haven't always been who we are, and we do have the ability to hopefully still be able to engage our young people. I know I'm getting a little older now, so I'm the old guy, so they don't necessarily want to talk to me like they used to be when I was the young cool teacher. But I was in a classroom last week, and some young people, the teacher stopped teaching. Which teachers, when I come in your classroom, don't stop teaching to address me. I'm just there to watch. I'm there to observe. I'm there to learn. But so the teacher introduced me and said, who's superintendent is here. And she said, this is my boss. And I said to the kids, this is my colleague. Yes, technically on paper, I'm the supervisor, but my colleague. We work together on, and I said, who's my boss? And they said, we don't know. I said, you guys are. 4,700 young people in the school district are technically the people that I work for. And I'm listening to you, and you're talking about being authentic with their kids and letting them know, yes, I'm in charge, but I've made some mistakes too. But learn from them and let me help you so you don't make some of those same ones. And even if you do make them, then you can hopefully help somebody else down the road. So,
right. Especially with the population that I serve. So I'm with the gifted population. So I'm with students that are straight A students. We have students that are graduating valedictorian. They've never gotten a B in their life.
Right.
You're going to get a B.
Yes, you are.
You might get a C. You might get that first F when you go off to college. And really talking to students about how does that make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you a less of a person? Does that diminish your success and your accomplishments of everything that you did
Right.
during your high school trajectory?
Right.
It doesn't.
No.
I do feel as leaders we should talk more about mistakes, barriers,
Mhm.
those hard, complex topics. I think we really should strive to really talk about because it's humanity. No one is perfect,
Mhm.
and I talk to students about that too, about releasing perfectionism because again, a lot of our students feel like because they're the first one,
Mhm.
they have to do it right, and I'm like, well, what is right?
Okay. Yeah, what is right? Yeah, and I mean, like I said, people might say, "Well, it's working with the gifted population. That's easy." No, no, it's not. I actually have a son who was identified as gifted, but he'll tell you that school was not his favorite thing, and it was a struggle at times for him
Absolutely.
because there's different. Sometimes their brains are wired a little differently, and like you talked about that perfectionism, and then sometimes organizational skills are a struggle, even though they can handle the content. Sometimes
Absolutely.
organizational skills are not.
Distractions,
Yeah,
fear
distractions.
of
So
failure.
a lot. So
Yeah.
understand that all of our scholars need different levels of support, and that's why I'm so glad. And we have programs like the Young Scholars, and we have other things for our students, our alternative programs for scholars who need those types of things. So it's the whole myriad of services that we provide in the Youngstown City Schools for scholars in our community is something I'm really proud of. All right. So let's talk about. You've already talked about leadership, but tell me, what's your definition of leadership?
My definition of leadership definitely um, is having a heart for service.
Okay.
Just serving others, leading with empathy, with compassion, with integrity, and really setting myself up to be able to reach back and uplift others. I think that's really um, where my heart is
Okay.
and how I lead with advocacy, um, just how I lead in general with knowing that I'm here for on purpose for a purpose, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
do really feel again very honored and very blessed to be and have the role that I have to be able to do that every day. That every day is an opportunity to encourage, to uplift, to motivate,
Right.
and to me that's why we're here.
Love it. Well, before we close, do you have any last words that you want to give to scholars, parents, community about leadership, about young scholars, about anything?
Um, I think that a lot of students think that maybe college isn't for them,
Mm.
and I'm a testimony to that, right? I guess I would kind of just close with college is for you if you want it.
There you go.
But even if you don't want it, have the opportunity and seize the opportunity to go. A lot of students don't realize that um, when you apply to college, that doesn't mean that you're going to get in.
Right?
There is criteria there.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
certain courses that you have to take. There's a
Hmm.
certain GPA you have to have.
Yes.
There is a certain um, just a acumen that sometimes that students are not aware of. And so I encourage every student to at least know what that is so they can have the option and opportunity to go if they want to.
All right, there you have it, Youngstown. Again, belly left leadership. And, we always tie things back, and everything that Tiffany talked about is absolutely along the lines of our belly left mantra. Making sure that we prepare, making sure that we know what the plan is, and that we execute it. And then there will be times when we may only get 2 or 3 yards on the play, but we're going to come back stronger and run it again until they stop it. Till next time, take care, Youngstown.
podcast is the property of Shofin Broadcasting and Youngstown City Schools. Shofin audio and video broadcasting students recorded and produced this episode.